So, as long as I've known you, you've been a bit of a jackass.
Sometimes, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it takes one to know one.
Did you know they made a movie about you?
About me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A biopic?
Yeah. Yeah. Segment. It's not a very linear story. It's kind of broken up into sort of little episodes of your life.
The life of Carl?
Yeah, but it's called Jackass.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Well, I mean, I have, but you apparently want to show me all of them. So
Well, yeah, and I mean, we'll see whether or not this is going to be a blunder or not. But let's watch Jackass.
All right, let's do it.
So you right off the bat, I need to ask you because there was some humming and some hawing. There's a new Jackass film coming this June.
Is there?
There is.
They're not done.
Johnny
punishing
Knoxville's
themselves.
54 years old and he's ready for more.
He doesn't know when to quit.
It's gonna one of the stunts is just gonna be him being fed Jello out of a cup in a hospital bed.
Will he choke on it?
Yeah. But so I had asked you, when we put together our list of movies that we'd seen, hadn't seen,
Right.
I had put all, and this is people are gonna go, what are you even talking about? I'd put all 6 Jackass films on there. 6?
I don't know.
6. Yes, because there's Jackass, Jackass 2, Jackass 3, Jackass 3.5. Jackass 4, and Jackass 4.5. So I'd put all 6 on there. And then you sort of like, you answered, I think you said you had seen 1 and 2.
I definitely seen 1 and 2. And then I think I've seen one other one, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
But I might
so
not have. I don't know.
question for you. When would you have seen Jackass?
Right around their releases.
So 20 plus
The ones
years
that I have
ago.
seen,
Yeah.
right around their
So
releases.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So how
So I would have been
familiar,
a young adult.
how familiar was any of that to you? Where you're like, oh yeah, I've seen all this.
Watching that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, yeah.
You were like, I remember all of this?
Well, I mean, some of them I had forgotten, but as I'm watching, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
I have a pretty good...
okay with that. I'm still gonna.
Yeah.
I think we'll still continue.
I have a pretty good visual recollection. If I forget something, but
Yeah.
then I start watching it, it all clicks pretty quick. Like,
right.
I remember.
You're like,
this.
I've seen those testicles.
Yeah.
No good with faces, but
Yeah.
hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast. That's Carl.
That's Brady.
And yeah, you know what? I'm still gonna continue on because I think there's there's at least
You're a completionist and you're a sucker for it.
I mean, there's at least no, it's not just that. There's at least 3 films that you've not seen, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And this is all sort of in prep for Jackass 5.
Okay.
And
Because there's a definite through narrative storyline that we need to follow.
Yep.
It's a deep, winding plot.
Yep. And to use a golfing term, when it comes to this series that we're doing, where at the end of the 52 films, each of us showing each other, the person whose score has scored the highest owes the other person a real nice steak dinner.
Right.
Maybe you could use a handicap. I'm just saying at this point, there's enough of a score discrepancy at a point in the gathering of scores where the needle is being moved much less by big scores. And so me showing you 6 films that are a big gamble could be your only hope. So I'm taking one for the team.
Yeah.
What should we just do initial impressions?
Yep.
Okay.
You go first.
So my initial impression, and I'm going to try to do this as in a vacuum as I possibly can, because obviously I've seen all the Jackass films. So I'm going to try not to compare it too much to the films that come after.
Sure.
Having said that, this is either the worst one or the second worst one. And that's not to say necessarily that it's terrible. It's just to say, you know, in a type of format like this where you are constantly looking for new ideas and little bit ideas, it would be easy to think or fear or suspect that after the first one, maybe the second one, we're kind of tapped out for good ideas, and now we're sort of reaching a little bit.
Sure.
The third one is spoiler alert. The third one is my favorite.
Okay.
But yeah, it grows from here, is what I will say.
All right.
And so what I will say about this is I don't think it's... I'm not going to give this a 10 out of 10.
Okay. It's not a cinematic masterpiece.
It's not a cinematic masterpiece. It is in many ways groundbreaking. It is in many ways a very interesting time capsule in the history of pop culture. And there are many things about this movie that I look up to and find inspiring almost.
This film?
This film. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, the franchise as a whole, but this is the first film.
Okay.
Right? We'll end up talking about this for sure, but worth noting that this is the first film which followed 3 seasons of a television show. It was on TV before it was ever a movie.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, all of a sudden just Jackass and this came out of nowhere. No, Johnny Knoxville had left the show and the studio was like, movie? And I don't know what contracts looked like or what,
right.
You know, but that's stuff that we'll all get into. All in all, I think this film is something special, because of what it is, and I will leave it at that. What's your sort of initial showing of your hand here?
Yeah, this film's something special, all right.
Oh no. It's gonna be rough.
You got a hill to climb to convince me this is something more than garbage. Now, I will add to my initial impression that when I was in my early 20s, late teens,
in the early 2000s,
this would have been a lot more
up your alley.
Up my alley and more funny.
Yeah.
And I'm still like an immature wad in some ways when it comes to humor and funny things. But this is just something completely different.
Yeah.
And as I have matured as an adult, this is very humorless for me.
Interesting. You chuckled.
There were a few moments.
You laughed.
And like, I will say, like, in terms of like, as I normally do, I like to kind of rate things in a vacuum of like what it is, unless it's got some kind of direct comparisons or something like that.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that this doesn't have a direct comparison to any other kind of Hollywood film.
That's not true. Nitro Circuit, like there were copycats.
Yes, there were copycats. But I would say, so outside of the copycats, the closest thing I would say would be like, in my mind that I've seen is like Just for Laughs gags.
Right. Some of the segments that are more pranks and they are stunts.
So and so when I'm like, when I was watching it this time, I'm watching especially the gag bits that involve pedestrians. That's where my comparison is immediately going.
Right.
So anyway.
Okay, so let me, before you shit talk it. Normally we like, okay, let's get all the crap out of the way and we'll end on a high note. I'm feeling passionate about what it is that I admire about
this.
this.
It up. Yeah, sure.
This is, so for those that don't know, like I said, this started as a television show on MTV. And that television show, taking you back, like some of the people watching this or listening to this, I'm talking about stuff from before you were born. But the whole idea of Jackass was sort of birthed out of skate videos. So you would have these like skateboard videotapes,
skateboards, roller skating, and BMX biking, all the any extreme sport.
And between some of those segments in those tapes, there'd be some prank pulling or some jackassery.
And and at the end or even during, there's the kind of the bits where the skater, if this for we're going to go skateboarding culture, the skater fails the trick and hurts themselves. And
so this was sort of birthed out of, and that like one of the reasons why you have cast members like Bam Margera, who was a pro skater when Jackass started, is because, some people took a look at those segments of those skate video. We call them videos.
They were videos.
VHSs, tapes, because we didn't have internet videos in the late 90s. And thought, that could be a show. Yeah. Right? That could be its own thing.
That extreme end of it where people are getting hurt and things are happening.
Yeah. That's really funny. It could be a show. What I think is really special about this is that this is a time capsule in pop culture, in that Jackass the movie, had it not been made when it was, right? Had we reached 2026 and this had never come to be, it wouldn't come to be today. Because the reason that Johnny Knoxville and the gang got a movie is because Johnny Knoxville and the gang had a TV show.
Yes.
And the reason Johnny Knoxville and the gang had a TV show is because there was no YouTube.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
people are doing this stuff on YouTube.
People are doing this, but now you just put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're getting a Jackass 5 is only the case because the precedent has been set. The brand is established.
Yeah.
Right? Jackass is a thing.
Yeah.
And these characters, this cast.
They're not even characters. This is them.
This cast is a thing. And so it makes sense to continue it. If they so choose to, then it makes sense to continue it. Whereas someone new who's like, oh, we're going to launch whatever, and we're going to get in a shopping cart, we're going to bash them together and race them down hills. And I don't see a universe where an entirely new cast, an unrelated entity, is getting a film. No, put it on YouTube.
Definitely not. No, not this kind of film anyway.
So to me, that's one of the things that I think is really special about it.
Yeah.
One of the go ahead.
As you're kind of like making that point, it was another parallel that I should add to my initial impression would be like AFV, America's Funniest Videos, and more recently Fail Army on like the YouTube,
which is crazy to me that AFV is still a show that it's still a show.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus,
and it's like.
My daughter started watching it,
but you know what I mean. Now it's like why it's in its day it was incredible. Now it's the inferior Fail Army. Is really what it is.
It is. Well, I don't think they make it anymore, do they?
AFE, I think they do.
Really?
Yeah. There's a new. It's not Tom Bergeron anymore. There's a new host.
That's worth a Google.
I think they're still making it. Yeah, look that up. Fact check. Are they still making America's Funniest Home Videos?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It's still running. It's in its 36th season.
Do you remember before, Tom? Remember when Bob Saget was the host?
Yeah.
And the set was like that, like it was like a living room set.
That's wild.
Yeah. Aging ourselves. So this came
I'm older
about
than AFV.
This came about really at the only time it could have come about, because you jump forward 10 years and this is just ending up on YouTube. You go 10 years prior and
skate culture doesn't exist.
Well, and even if it wasn't birthed out of skate culture, even if it tried to be birthed on its own, I don't think as an audience we were there. We weren't ready for this kind of crass and
dumbassery,
over the top dumbassery. So this is so much a product of its time, and came into existence at a time when it's the only time it could have come into existence.
Yeah.
So that I think is really special about it. Something I admire is the ability, is just the culture of the cast. Now, in these early films, it is a little bit harder to watch for a couple reasons. Reason number one, smaller budget. Smaller budget, worse cameras.
Right.
And it's a lot more just run and gun as opposed to being able to put together a more source the materials to make this really painful and really funny and really whatever. We just kind of have to, oh shit, it's a shopping cart, grab it, and we'll do something with it. Mm-hmm. Having said that, some of the better segments in this, I think, are the things where, like the paper cut between the toes thing, right? To me, that's a lot of fun because it's clear that, like, we just spent a day shooting. We have a day shooting tomorrow. However, we were sitting around in the hotel room having some beers, and the thought came to us: what if we just start paper cutting each other?
Yeah, I don't think that's funny, but it's at its heart what it is guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah,
that's literally what they're doing.
So that's one of the reasons why I find this film and the next film a little more difficult to watch now. The other reason is there's a lot more substance struggles and liquid courage and stuff like that going on in these first two films. Very famously, by about the time the third film came around, we were all kind of sober, and it cleaned up our acts for the most part, which actually makes it funnier because you get remarks from, and I don't want to spend too much time on future films, but you get remarks from like Steve-O where he's like, man, doing this sober is a whole different animal, right?
Yeah.
And then very famously, Bam Margera is, with the exception of one segment, is not in Jackass 4 because there was a condition: stay clean and sober. You can be in this film. He got canned. We'll obviously talk about all that when we
get there.
When we get to the fourth film. But what I love, what I admire about this cast is that there is this culture of a group of people, group of friends who are getting together to do something that they think is funny and is good content. And they have an ability that
They have an ability, all right.
they have an ability that I am inspired by, that I'm in awe of.
Pain tolerance?
No. An ability to push down self-preservation. Right? That Johnny Knoxville can stand at the top of a set of concrete steps knowing that he's about to grind this rail.
And he's going to eat
knowing that he's not going to do it successfully, and that this is going to hurt.
He's going to eat the concrete either on the steps or at the bottom.
Yeah. However, the footage that results will be funny as hell. And is able to turn off the fight or flight. Not turn it off entirely. And part of the funny is the noticeable dread that they have for what they're about to do, but to turn it off enough to allow themselves to be able to do it.
Right.
And another example, Steve-O's super drugged out and drunk and stuff on and off during the filming of this film. However, Steve-O snorting a line of wasabi, throwing up in pain, instant regret, in total pain, but then someone saying, do more. And he goes in for more. Just because someone has said, like, in his mind, he's going, someone who is gauging this situation and realizes we need to elevate the content. We're not quite there yet. We gotta finish the shot, is saying, do more. So it's not even a question. I'm going to do more. Another example would be at the end, towards the end, when we're eating the peed on snow cone.
I couldn't even watch it. I literally shut my eyes and I couldn't watch it.
While he's doing that, someone realizes this isn't landing, right? It's gross and it's on brand, but this segment's not quite there. And so while he's throwing up, I'm going to bag him. Right. And it's just that. And everyone who signs up, I'd be so curious to see.
Those that aren't watching the YouTubes, I am just shaking my head.
I'd be so curious to see what these contracts looked like. Right. Like what were you allowed to say no to and what weren't you?
Oh.
But.
Because clearly they can say no to something because Steve-O says no to
the car in the butt. Yeah. They probably there's probably in the contract that you get one or two gimmies.
Well, it's probably in the contract that you get paid by the stunt and you get paid more depending on the stunt.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
Like if you don't do any stunts the whole thing, you're not getting a big paycheck.
And that wouldn't be the only pay structure because ultimately, like, regardless of how many stunts Knoxville is in, he's the face of this franchise. He's getting more than anyone else.
Outside of everyone else, that I think his would be the different contract. Everyone else, maybe Steve-O's would be similar-ish.
Yeah.
Because if Knoxville's not there, then Steve-O's next in line.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. But yeah, there's something to me about that, about the ability to set self-preservation aside and create a wild story, get some great content, get the shot. Now, obviously, there's times where they take it to a very extreme. To
the point it's not funny even to them.
Sure.
I think the best example of that would be Steve getting not Steve, Johnny getting shot with the bag, the rifle, the non-lethal bag.
Yeah.
From the shotgun. Like, nobody was laughing at that.
No.
Not a single person. And nor should they be. And nor should it have happened at all.
See, but in my opinion, it's one of the better segments in the video or in the movie, just because it feels more thought out and more structured and more. It's more. It gets the tension going in a way that some of the other segments don't.
I don't think it's thought out any more than anything else.
Oh no, that's not true at all. Some of it's like, hey, grab this garbage can lid and just do whatever. Okay. They had to make arrangements to have this happen.
It's no more thought out than any other stunt where they had to arrange something then. I'll say. Because like I would say, and the reason I say that is because the guy who owned the company that shot him wasn't going to let it happen under certain conditions.
Right.
And that's less them thinking it out and less them going and more them going, this is what we want to do. You tell us what we need to do to make it happen.
Well, deferring to the experts. yeah.
Which is
100%.
fair. Which is fair. But Johnny's not thinking about the consequences until they're laid out in front of him.
Yeah, he's thinking about the content.
And even then he's still going through with it.
Yeah. And that's the part that, like, yes, I acknowledge is maybe really stupid, but also I admire that ability. Because I'm telling you right now, regardless of the paycheck, regardless of the whatever, even if I wanted to get the shot, even if I don't know, standing there and watching the practice shot go, I don't know that I could will myself to do it.
Well, I wouldn't stand in front of a rifle or a shotgun.
No. But you know,
I know what you're saying.
You're saying that based on I wouldn't want to. I'm saying even if I wanted to, I don't know that I could actually go through with it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could will myself to do it. And they find a way to do it.
I hear what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't even will myself to stand in front of a taser. So,
right. Yeah, I've been tased.
Yeah.
For content. But yeah, it's to me, that's I admire that. I admire the culture that they've created around the show. And it does have a sort of a special way. Like, I think most of the stuff that happens in these movies, particularly at least this first one, because that's the one we're reviewing, is any sane person with a brain in their skull would go, oh, I have no interest in that. I would never do that. That sounds terrible.
Right.
However, there's also some things in the Jackass franchise that many people, I feel like there's a reason there were so many copycats. There's a reason why all of a sudden people started doing it on YouTube, even if...
Because teenagers eat this content up.
Yeah, but even if they didn't stand a chance at ever monetizing it or making any money off of it, even now at my age, there's probably fewer things that I look at and I go, oh, that'd be kind of a hoot. But there were things in this film, not pranks, but stunt type things, right? Where I'd go, I'd probably strap rockets to a set of roller skates. I mean, that's sort of there's something about these films that I think inspire people, for better or worse, inspire people to tap into a less cautious, more wild, more risk-taking, fun story generating, possibly injury generating, but also hell of a story generating sides of themselves that otherwise lay dormant because fear is there. And something that I think this franchise has taught over and over. Now, most of these cast members, if not all of them, have broken many bones and sustained many, in some cases, pretty serious injuries. Having said that, this film highlights and taps into the fact that our bodies, although breakable, are far less fragile than we give them credit for. Are really you're capable of taking much more of a blow. You may be sore for a couple of days, maybe a week or two, but you are capable of taking much more of a blow than we think we are. And I think because of that, because of the perception we have about, if I do that, it's I'm going to break my arm. If I do that, I'll break my arm. We end up living these extremely cautious
I would say
lives.
there's a huge caveat to that statement, and that the movie's statement at the beginning and the end says, these people have trained to do this for the most part.
Yes and no. I mean, some of these things you can't train for. A few of them haven't
trained for. Like Bam hasn't trained for it. He's trained for it in that he skated his whole life.
He's less likely to wipe out.
He's learned personally through trial and error how to fall without getting hurt.
As hurt, yeah.
Or as hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Johnny Knoxville is a professional stuntman. He knows how to take a hit, how to take a fall to limit the damage to his body. If you have no idea how to just fall down backwards on your back, you will crack the back of your head.
Oh, for sure.
You take that's why the first thing they teach you when you take a martial arts class is how to fall, how to break. They call it a break fall, how to break fall.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
And if you've never done any of that, if you have no training, then your body is going to break the minute you run into something.
Having said that, I do think that there's a large portion of that disclaimer at the beginning that is just liability. It's just them covering their ass.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's many things that are done in these films that you can't. There's no training for. There's no preparation.
It's just
for
people being stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the golf cart accident. Right.
Right.
It rolls over and his head goes down in a funny. That's a split second.
Mm-hmm.
There's no preparing for that. Right. It just is what it is. And one of the other really interesting things about these films, and I think something that sucks us in, is that although not all of the cast members are still living, none of them have died making these films. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of one of those, like, I think we find that it sucks you in, and it's like, wow, it's like gambling.
I think that's part of that caveat, in that there are precautions being taken even though they're doing dumb crap.
Yeah. I've sort of told you why I just on a base layer. Now, I can talk specifically about some of the segments I like and why I like them. But overall, my affection for what they've begun in this first film, I've sort of stated why that is. But you have a sheet of notes there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have that same affection for this. I watch most of this and I go, why? I don't see the humor in it anymore.
But you did.
As a teenager, I see the humor in most of it. I think even as a young man, there was some of it that I was just didn't like. I never would have saw that guy eating pea as a pea cone as being funny,
no, and that doesn't do it for me either.
Like there's some things that they do that are just have never been funny and will never be funny in my mind.
For me, it's the stunts.
Yeah,
I don't even find it's the reaction of the hardware store owner when the guy takes a crap in the toilet, display toilet. I find some humor in that, but it's ultimately not my favorite type of segment in the Jackass universe.
Yeah.
It's the rockets attached to the skates. It's the self-defense thing. If someone's gonna take pepper spray to the face, or someone's going to. Those are the things where I almost have like an endorphin rush watching it.
Like you want to be in the
driver's seat? I don't want to take pepper spray to the face. However, there's many things that are done where I do think to myself, it'd be fun. That would have been a fun day for the guys standing around. It'd be fun to be there, right? It'd be fun to be a part of that, as long as I'm not the one
getting smacked,
hanging over a pit of alligators.
Yeah.
So lay out some of your notes.
What do you want me to go over first? Are we sticking with positives?
I can't answer that because I don't know what your notes say.
Well, I've pretty much made a list of things I liked and things I did, and a few other.
So we started good. Let's end good.
Okay. So switch gears.
Yeah, we'll do a woo.
Right.
Roller coaster.
Okay.
What sucks?
Okay, so I'll start with I wrote down just a few words that came to mind while I was watching this.
Okay.
That I was thinking about okay, I'm watching this. I'm not enjoying it. What is it I don't like about it?
Right.
And those words were childish, immature, unnecessary. In a nutshell. We could break those down a little further, but I think that kind of goes a little bit without saying because it really is. That's
fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a lot of arguing that that's what's happening here.
No, that's the whole point. They are being jackasses.
Yeah. The one thing I get when I watched not only this one, but I know I get the same feeling watching the other ones. I would not want to be a part of this crew. Not on my best day, worst day, not ever. You could not pay me enough money to hang out with these guys and shoot a movie.
Okay.
Because I would not be able to sleep. I would always be on edge.
So
it's like the razor prank of it's a fairly harmless prank, but they're doing it to everybody.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you're going to be next.
Moving forwards, that does get worse. Like in this one, because I know where you're going. I agree. That it is, because they've even described in interviews, like it is a level of constant stress and looking over your shoulder while you're filming. Now in this one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the only intercast continuous prank that's going on is the hair clippers.
I would say it goes beyond the pranks and just like the physicality with each other. The guy's doing a prank, and mid-prank, somebody doesn't think the prank's working, so he gets sacked.
Right.
I'm giving myself for content here, and it's not working, so you physically assault me.
Can I point out that only counts as half an argument for you?
Because why?
Because you've had a vasectomy, so really...
it doesn't make it hurt any less.
Yes, it'll hurt real bad.
Everything's still attached. Yes, everything still works.
Yes, it'll hurt real bad, but it's not going to affect your ability to have children.
It doesn't lessen the argument.
A little bit. Tiny bit.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, tiny bit, because there's something to be said if I kick you in the nuts and you end up having to lose a testicle as a result. That's horrible. That is.
It doesn't matter because there's still that physical pain that I am potentially going to receive unknowingly. So I am constantly dreading it.
But it would be worse if I put you in a position where if me kicking you in the groin was now the reason why you'll never be a father. That's a worse consequence. It's a bigger consequence.
Sure. But I think it's in the grand scheme of I'm talking about.
I agree with you.
I'm not talking about just me. I'm talking like these cast members outside myself.
I just wanted to drag out talking about kicking you in the balls.
Yeah. Like kicking you in the balls. How you like kicking
Have we ever sacked each other? I feel like maybe we must have
at some point.
I think it was like a back of the hand flick. thing. I don't think I've ever kicked you.
A tag, not a sack.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever kicked anyone.
I don't know if it's still a thing. But
Free
it was
Bag
a big,
Friday? Remember that?
No, just bag tags.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
It was the worst.
But yeah, man, I would not want to be on this set.
No,
I would not want to be a part of this crew.
I agree.
Like not even a cameraman. Like even the cameraman's not safe.
Yeah, they're not safe.
No, nobody's safe. It's yeah.
But they seem to all like they're a very unique breed of people in that they even when they hate it, they quickly snap out of it and realize that was good one. Like, yeah, you got me. That was good.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
that's not healthy,
not for you and me. Well, I
don't think that's
to
healthy.
Say that? Yeah, who's to say that?
I say that.
It's not healthy for you or me.
It's not healthy for anybody to live with that kind of
I don't know. They've made a
lifestyle
shit
and that
ton of money doing it.
Sure. And now they all have PTSD.
We don't know that. You can't. That's a blanket statement.
But oh man, yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. Oh man, yeah. There's a bunch of pranks that
Johnny Knoxville is worth $50 million. He's doing fine.
Yeah,
he's fine.
He's got a real good therapist.
Yeah, and it wasn't until Jackass 4, which is technically the fifth release,
right.
that he went gray. Right?
he used Just for Men.
It wasn't until the pandemic. The pandemic made him gray.
It was Just for Men.
Yeah.
He's using it Just for Men. Yeah, there's a bunch of the pranks that I just like the crapping in the toilet in the hardware store.
Yeah.
And almost not all, but almost all the pranks on civilians were like I just watched them and I just shook my head. I was just like, this person didn't ask for this BS. And I was thinking about it, right? Because like the very first one is they rent an automobile from a guy.
Yeah.
And then they walk off the lot and they say F you, and it seems like they never go back. Obviously they go back. They probably explain the situation. They pay for the car, and they probably give them some sort of reimbursement for their time and trouble on top of it. Would be my assumption. Would be my hope, we'll say. I don't know if it's true or not. You're probably Googling it now.
It was funny. I searched, did Jackass and then the letter P, and then it auto-filled pay for the rental car.
Yeah. And of course, they would have gotten charged if they didn't, or the insurance just covered it.
They do go back and cover the cost for damages, but don't show it to maintain the illusion of the prank for the audience.
Yeah. And I think that's where the line is drawn in the sand for me. For me viewing, it would be funnier if they were brought in on the prank.
Right.
And I say that
we get to see them.
I say that because there is a direct comparison with Just for Laugh gags. When you watch Just for Laugh gags, the gags are more harmless than anything Jackass will ever do. But I think what makes it really funny, even though I know that they're harmless, what really makes it funny is that at the end of each segment, they show the person pulling the prank, putting their arm around the person, pointing to the camera. Everybody's laughing, having a good time.
Right.
And I know everything's all good. Because in my mind, I don't think most pranks are funny. I'm a stickler for pranks kind of not being funny in general. The best pranks are pranks where the person being pranked can enjoy it and laugh as well, where that person doesn't suffer any kind of harm or malice. Like they don't feel like they've been targeted in a malicious way.
I don't like pranks where someone gets hurt, or I mean, with the Jackass crew, if they know that's what they've signed up for, then that's what they've signed up for. But when it's someone unsuspecting and unconnected. I think the one exception for me when it comes to like necessarily bringing people in on it is where if the person who's being pranked, if it's ultimately a harmless prank, but the person being pranked is just kind of a little overworked up or is a little the example for me in this would be, I think in this movie the best prank, my favorite prank, is the air horn on the golf course. Now none of those golfers are brought in on it and they're all pissed off and they're like, but they also take it, it's funny, but they take it too far when they're like now driving balls at humans into the bushes. And so in that, I'm just kind of like, oh, grow up. This is funny. And
for them, they're out there trying to enjoy a peaceful, relaxing game of golf.
People take golf too serious, though.
People take a lot of things too serious.
I know.
People think, but even if they weren't taking it serious, they're there to relax, have a good time, and not be hassled. They're not. They don't want that.
I mean, it's,
right? Yeah. Like that's one of the more harmless ones. I can see a little more humor in that, but yeah, again, like I go back to what I think a funny prank is, and at the end of the day, I don't think it's a funny prank.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Humor is subjective, and that's what I think of prank humor, right? Like that being said, some of the old man stuff they do, I think that's funny.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty harmless. The only person really getting harmed is themselves.
Yeah.
And when they kind of appear to be harmed or in trouble, nice people come along to help out, and it's like, oh, that's a nice person. They're getting tugged along, and they're getting made a bit made the fool of. But at the end of the day, even though they don't show the Jackass guys throwing their arms around and pointing at the camera, even though they don't show me that, I know that person is going to have a good laugh at the situation that just happened.
The
wee man in the
your legs shaking our cameras, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my restless legs. Wee man in the cone like that.
That's a great prank.
That's a great prank.
The burglars coming down through the ceiling is a great prank.
That was funny
because clearly they've set it up with the building or something. Because otherwise, how do you get up there? But the employees don't know.
Yeah. And I will I think that is hilarious because we see the one guy like book it.
Yeah.
But then we see the brought in. We see the brought in.
Yeah.
And that's what that part, I think that's what seals the deal for me in that prank.
Yeah.
That just makes it that much more funny for me.
And I don't know if you can call it's sort of a blend between a prank and a stunt. Although this is more on the extreme, and my guess is that you don't like it. The toy car in the butt's pretty harmless. It's a fun prank on the guy doing the X-rays because they've paid for the X-rays.
Yeah.
And given that guy a little bit of a
what's going on?
Are you okay, son?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell it. He knows, and that's already too many people.
That part was funny. The doctor giving him life advice.
Yeah.
Don't tell your wife or your boyfriend. I don't care which one it is. Don't tell anybody. You told your friend. That's too much.
That's already too many people.
That was kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah. A simple prank
the stuff that they prank where it's kind of they're taking the brunt of it is like the old man stuff, right? Like they're taking the brunt of the humor.
Yeah.
Right. The civilian is just brought in to enjoy it, and they're not part of it.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's fun, right? Yeah, and I to kind of pull back the curtain a bit. I think some of my I've been pranked, not maliciously, I wouldn't say, but and not in a hazing way. Yeah. But I've been pranked before. Like when I was in college, one of my best friends, his now brother-in-law and sister were over hanging out, and I was working, and they came, they saw me in the store, and I was working at a store, and they bought some stuff and left. And then when I left to go home for work, I closed up. My car was wrapped in cellophane and egged.
That's fun.
I didn't think so.
The egged is a bit much.
I didn't think so.
The cellophane is kind of
I just finished working a long shift. I want to get home. I'm hungry. Yeah. I didn't find it funny.
Right.
They weren't there to laugh with me.
Right.
They just left me in this horrible situation.
For me, the egged is too far. The cellophane's impressive and fun. I've pranked you.
Yeah. But you like
but all we did was,
I think that's the other part. I think I nailed another part that would makes pranks funny for me is the prankster has to be there to laugh with you.
Yeah.
When you just wrap my car up, egg it, and bail, that's not funny. You're not there to help me clean it up. You're not there to laugh with me.
Yeah.
If I find it funny, you're not there to console me if I think it's horrible and I've had a bad day.
Yeah.
And now I have to deal with this crap.
The other type of, so the prank that I pulled on, I mean, I'm sure there's been more than one, but the one that comes to mind was just popping your car into neutral and hiding it. Right.
Yeah. Pushing it to the center of the field.
Yeah. Because we were around to, I do think there'd be something great.
I would say that was funny.
Yeah.
Because people were there. It's harmless. I can laugh at that.
I do think there would be something great, though, about a prank. I think if a prank is well orchestrated and harmless and continues on long enough, I do think, like, I would love to do a prank where, let's say you lived downtown somewhere, right? Like in an apartment above a, whatever.
Sure.
Or
like my old apartment.
Or in an actual apartment building, and you have a parking spot. This is where you park your car.
Right.
I would love to, over the course of a year or 6 months, once every couple of weeks, come pop your car, like obtain a key to your car without you knowing. And then once every couple of weeks, come and just move your car one spot over. Not so much so that it's hidden, but enough that you start to
wonder if you're parking in the wrong spot.
You start to question your own sanity. You start to go, what is going on? I could have sworn. And then you reach the point where you're like, okay, I'm paying specific attention to where I'm parking because I have to know that I'm not going crazy. And then it's still because I would come at like 4:30 in the morning to move it so that I didn't get caught by you. To me, that's also a great prank.
Sure.
Because eventually I will reveal to you, yes, it was me.
Yeah.
Or I won't. But ultimately, it stops happening. You realize
harmless.
you're not
I'm
crazy.
only going to figure it out if you reveal it. We can laugh together.
Yeah.
You can console or apologize if I didn't find it funny immediately.
Probably wouldn't, but
well, I think that one I would think would be funny.
I'm saying I probably wouldn't apologize. Because I would be like, no, you just don't get it. This was genius. It's an evil mastermind.
Right.
But what else you got?
Bam's parents. I just feel bad for those people. Like, they don't deserve that crap. And there's more there than what we saw. And I never watched the show, and I assume that they did the same stuff for the show. And oh man.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of that prank thing, but like to an extreme. Like he just runs in on his dad, starts beating him up, rips his shirt off while he's taking a dump and walks out.
Yeah.
That's when is that funny?
I mean,
how is that funny?
My understanding is that although Phil and April aren't like main cast members, they grew up with this kid, and even before this kid had a platform to make money doing this, he was pulling pranks and doing all kinds of shit. But
Maybe we don't know that. Maybe he only started doing it when he met Johnny, and after they started the show.
Yeah, I don't think that's is possible. I seem to think that's not the case. My understanding though is like, you know, moving forward, like that house that, you know, he puts the alligator in and stuff like that. He bought them that house with pro skating money, right? That he like that. There's sort of this give and take where mom, dad, I am going to make a lot of money. Sometimes it will be at your expense. I will reward you handsomely. Right? And they that's actually
there's a huge level of it goes beyond just at expense though. Like it's not just at expense. There's a huge level of disrespect and not care for.
Yeah, but there's also you'll notice as these films go on, like I think Phil's like on the toilet going, this is crazy, it's too far, you're getting crazy with this shit. But I may be wrong, and I'll own that if we discover that I am. I'm pretty sure that's the closest to enough is enough by a good bit that we ever see either of the parents, because I think what happened was Bam played a bunch of pranks on his parents for content. The first Jackass movie made Bam a lot richer. And then by the time like Jackass 3 comes along, Phil's participating and Phil's being like, yeah, I'll do this bit with you guys.
Right.
Right? Like, oh yeah, you want to super glue me to someone else? Sure.
Right.
Right? Because it became...
Now he's getting paid.
Yeah, now he's getting paid, but it also just became, I think when something like this is starting out and your parents that are the butt of pranks, it's hard for them to wrap their head around what this could be or what this is going to be, what this could potentially become. And then once it started becoming that, they were like, okay, right? I sort it now. Obviously, this is way different, but I liken it to, that kid that like all they ever do is play video games. They're just constantly on their computer playing StarCraft or whatever it is, right? And the parents like, go out, get a job, get an education. This is gonna blah, and they hate it. They hate that their kid is constantly he's throwing his life away. All he does is play video games, and then he becomes a professional esports, whatever, and all of a sudden video games, or he becomes a successful YouTube gamer, streamer, whatever, and now gaming is... Now their kids got more money doing this than they ever dreamed of having for themselves, and they go, okay, we see this in a little bit of a different light now.
Sure. Or it's the other side, where it's... The situation is akin to, I don't know the name of this guy. There's a young YouTuber that made his money, and he became very popular by doing really malicious pranks on people with no remorse or apologies on YouTube. I don't remember his name. Yeah, to the point where he started having a security detail with him so that people could not could not attack him back. Yeah. And he would do like heinous stuff to people.
Really, yeah.
Like
good for clicks.
Good for clicks, but not good for his health if he didn't have a security detail.
Yeah.
And he's actually been like, I think he's charged and in jail now, if I'm not mistaken. But like that's the other side. Is that what's happening here? And the parents are just like, yeah, but he's making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good for our wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he likes doing it. Like, are they? And my thought would lean more towards that, because these are, even if they started out where we see like dad on the toilet saying he's gone too far, he's going crazy, right? But then the money's rolling in. Oh, well, our son's doing fine.
We can take this further.
We can take this further. We don't need to help our son find guardrails to lay out his life proper, steer him in the right direction.
He's tapped into something we don't get, but we're certainly not going to get in his way.
I would say that's what happened, because where is Bam now? Right, he's not doing well. Last I heard, he was not doing well for himself.
He is now. My understanding, the most recent report is that he is now a year or a little bit over a year sober.
Okay, so he's starting to get his life back together.
It was real bad for a number of years.
He completely fell apart.
And part of that was the death of his best friend, Ryan Dunn. Right? That was sort of, I think...
Right. But a strong foundation in your life keeps you from going off the rails. It can. It does.
Again, that's a blanket statement.
No. I would put money on it that
without fail, across the board, if you have a strong foundation, that's it. There's no way for your life to go off the rails.
If you have strong, healthy relationships with your friends, with caring adults, and your parents who help give structure to your life, yes.
Yeah, but you know what?
Maybe not 100%, but it's in the 90s.
Yeah, but that's completely ignoring mental health problems and all kinds of, right? Like there's so many variables that get you to where you are in your life,
and a strong foundation
certainly
eliminates
is huge.
Most, if not all of them.
I'd be willing to cautiously say most. You're not going to get me to agree to all, but
I won't say 100%.
Yeah,
but there's it being my line of work. I know there is strong evidence supporting me in my statement.
Yeah. I just I'm wary of blanket
evidence.
statements in general. Is sort of the
which is why I'm kind of retracting a little bit to say maybe not 100%, but it's like I'm pointing in the right direction. I know for certain. Yeah. So I would say that Bam's parents, I would say maybe they failed him a little bit in not giving him good guardrails in life.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Yeah, I don't know. We got a couple minutes to wrap this up here. So what else you got?
That's pretty much all I got for
negatives.
I'm
guessing your positive list is shorter, so hit me with that.
It's not too much shorter. Okay. Like I thought the old people stuff, even the shoplifter one, I found some humor in.
Pretty harmless.
Because I know they went back and they put an arm around and brought him in on the joke, even though I don't see it.
I mean, they may not have, but ultimately they didn't take any, they didn't actually get away with anything.
But like that one was kind of the more cringy of the old people stuff, but the rest of it was great, I thought.
Yeah.
The mousetrap one was probably one of the more physical ones I find humor in.
Right.
I think that's kind of, because you're not really going to get hurt by a mousetrap. It's kind of funny. I actually have a friend who works for the organization I work with, who's part of a sketch, not a sketch comedy, improv group.
Yeah.
And they do fundraisers for other people in our organization. And one of the things they do is they'll do an improv bit blindfolded with mousetraps on the stage, but people have to pay a certain amount of money for each mousetrap. Yeah. So if nobody there's no mousetraps on the stage. If everybody
I've seen groups do this.
Yeah. So it's that's funny. That can be funny. The giant cone. I thought the tropical pole vault was hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
And
the rocket skates are fun.
Those are the stunts that some sort of catapult that's going to fling one of them into the water.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Those are my favorite segments, just because it's like a little crazy, a little chaotic. And those are the things, whether it's rocket skates or it's the pole vaulting or it's a catapult that's flinging someone into a pond. Those are the things that start getting my imagination going of like, We could fling someone into a pond.
Those things I like. Some of those things I could see myself getting on board for. Anything that I could actually get hurt, or I don't want to feel pain.
I mean, you could always get hurt doing it. Anything.
Yeah.
Right? Getting out of bed.
Those ones are less likely. The sumo chase bits with the wee man and the big guy. I thought that was funny. The big guy's bench gag.
So his name's Preston.
Preston,
the big guy. Yeah.
Like the where he sits on the bench breaks, and
that's fun.
That felt like straight out of Just for Laugh gags. It was. I thought it was a really funny bit. The gong.
The gong's great because it's like it startles you for a second and then the prank's over.
Yeah. The rail grind. I thought the rail grind was fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You ready to score this?
Those are pretty much the things I liked.
You ready to give this thing a score?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
You go first.
I know.
What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 6.8.
Okay.
Not a 7. But not as low as a 6. I'm leaving room because I know I like this series much more as it moves forward. But still ranking it high enough because of, again, the things I said, that this is Jackass is not like, oh yeah, Jackass is one of those franchises that it really is its own category. It essentially invented a genre.
Sure.
And that, I feel like, in any film that's able to do that, to some extent, your hat has to come off a little bit, and go like, this is, you created something. You created something that no one else had done before. Again, I'm willing to bet no other group of individuals will ever do again at this scale, because there's just not you can do it on YouTube, but you missed the bus. Yeah. You missed the bus
unless you're that kid that took it too far and got arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
He apparently made a lot of money, enough to buy houses and cars.
What give you it?
Listen, comedy's subjective.
Yep.
I didn't like this comedy. This is not up my alley. This is not something I enjoy. There are a few bits that I did find funny. There are other gag bits that I thought could have been funny if they showed me people being brought into the bit and enjoying it with them. But overall, I did not enjoy this. I floated between a 1 or a 2.
Wow. Oh God.
Yeah.
My finger on the keyboard here was hovering over like a 4.
1 or 2. And I'll give you the 2 because of the innovation.
Wow.
Yeah, that whole bit that you waxed poetic about. I'll give you a point for that.
I don't know.
But yeah, I did not enjoy this at all.
I don't know that the 1.1 points on my score buffer that I thought was going to be enough of a buffer to get.
You took a huge risk.
My score went from an 8. So you have a 6.9.
Yeah.
My score went from an 8 to a 7.7. That's a drop. Considering how many more films we have to go here, that is a drop. Mm-hmm. Shit.
And it might just keep going if you want to take the completionist route.
All right, we're not going to ask each other what we watched because you were away last week.
I do have stuff though,
and but we talked about that in the last episode.
Oh right, we did.
Yeah, we're doing some weird recording jankiness here. However, I have to read the next page.
Is Johnny in there?
And see, that's the thing. It's far too on the nose appropriate to not read a page from our book.
Are you going to jump to Johnny's page if he's in there?
No, we're doing Bruce Wayne.
Oh, Bruce Wayne. Batman. Which Batman?
This is from The Dark Knight Rises. So Christian Bale up against Bane. A lot of these will be Bane injuries.
Yeah. Because he gets real screwed up by Bane.
Incident report. Billionaire vigilante was critically injured, saving Gotham City from a terrorist organization run by a masked revolutionary. Patient's back was broken. which led him to undergo rather unconventional rehabilitation program. Injuries. Number 1, his thorax. Multiple brawls with terrorists. Patient's ceramic body plates and Kevlar bi-weave bodysuit provided protection against most of the usual injuries caused by hand-to-hand combat, but bruised or fractured ribs likely. Number 2, his back. Back snapped over the revolutionary's knee. Flexion and flexion.
I don't know. I'm not looking at the word.
Flexion and distraction of spinal column, causing spinal fracture dislocation of thoracic vertebrae between T1 and T12, i.e. a broken back, dislocated vertebrae, punctured skin. The bone was punched back into place by a prison cellmate several days later. High risk of bacterial infection due to exposed bone. Number 3 is head. Hallucinations during recovery from broken back, likely caused by fever due to infection. Number 4, his neck. Lost footing twice while rock climbing, falling approximately 20 to 30 feet each time. The patient's descent was stopped abruptly by a rope around his waist, which would result in a spinal fracture of the C1 to C4 cervical vertebrae.
I already got back problems. Why not make it worse?
Number 5, his abdomen on the right side. After finally returning to Gotham, patient was stabbed by an ex-lover. Who hasn't been? 5-inch blade was buried to the hilt, resulting in a deep penetration wound. Class 2 hemorrhage, Class 3 hemorrhage, involving moderate blood loss or 30 to 40% of blood volume. Possible if...
That's a lot of blood.
Yeah, if blade penetrated the liver.
Ooh.
Additional observations, according to his primary care physician, the patient had scar tissue on his kidneys and stage 4 osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis. In his elbows, shoulders, and knees, all likely attributable to his extracurricular nighttime activities. The prognosis. Most injuries would heal within 4 to 6 weeks, although long-term antibiotic treatment might be required. Any spinal injury resulting in protruding vertebrae would cause permanent, irreversible damage to the spinal cord, with a fracture between T1 and T12 vertebrae. Wayne would experience paralysis of the trunk and or legs. Additionally, the second likely spinal fracture occurring from the cervical section of vertebrae would leave the patient quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. His condition?
They got exoskeletons for that.
Patient's condition? The Dark Knight would not rise. Thank you so much for watching or listening, depending on how you're consuming this content. Make sure you check out our Patreon page. Support the show. This was free. You got to hear Carl talk about his vasectomy for free.
I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, you did a little bit. You responded.
I responded.
You conversed.
I didn't talk about it.
And
you
we have
talked
merch.
about it. I responded.
We have merch.
Yes.
Carl's wearing his onesie right now. His underneath his outfit there. He's got his Movie Men onesie, and you can have yours.
Do we have a Movie Men onesie?
No, but we should make one. Is that
a thing?
Would you buy one?
No.
Oh, you need more merch though.
I think
your life is missing.
I have merch. Do you have merch?
You have a shirt.
Do you have a shirt?
Do you have a mug?
I don't have a mug.
You just have a shirt.
Do you have a shirt?
I have a hat. Do I have a shirt?
You have a hat and I have a shirt.
I need a hoodie.
Between the two of us, we have half an outfit.
I want a hoodie.
We need some merch.
Yeah.
We'll buy merch if you buy merch.